When any person thinks of an individual who has served time in jail or have been incarcerated, our minds drift into negativity to think that they're just bad people and don't deserve what we have. Now, one thing we mainly don't focus on is how many people who have served time and have bad felon names under their records that actually have been innocent. Well, according to History.com, in 1989, these 5 young men were accused of convicting a rape. At the time, they were just young teenagers in New York. They were held by detectives under hostage. They were manipulated and beaten without parental guidance to confessively force a crime that they didn't commit. Now, the Central Park 5 story implies that there was really no justice for these young men until 2002, when the real rapist, Matia Reyes, had came clean and confessed that he was the one who convicted the rape. Now, when these 5 young men were brought back into New York, they were given millions of dollars, apologies, and fame. But the much money they had and everything is never going to estimate to the lifetime that they missed in jail. And this is an example of unfought justice that could have been dealt with if prisoners were allowed to vote. Now, furthermore, I have been researching articles, stories, and a greater depth into our amendments and rights to show the understanding of why everyone has the right to citizenship granted to vote, even incarcerated. Although we may look at criminals and think that they're all bad, but just because they wear an orange jumpsuit does not mean they can imply their word for their own country. Today, I will be revealing the reasons why people incarcerated should have the right to vote. However, I will be discussing the innocence of those who are incarcerated. First, extrapolating the 281 known DNA extraditions in the U.S. since the late 1980s through 2020, according to the Innocence Project, 20,000 people have been falsely convicted of crimes. Connecting with the Central Park 5 story, this also relates to this young man named Timothy Cole. According to NBC News, in 1985, Timothy Cole was accused of a rape at Texas Tech University. When he was accused, he lost all of his scholarships and he was sentenced to 25 years in prison. Now, later on, unfortunately, in 1999, which was 14 years later, he had died in prison due to asthma complications. Now, later in 2008, this young man named Jerry Wayne Johnson was in jail for multiple rapes, and they had figured out that his DNA was connected to Timothy Cole's case the entire time. Now, if Timothy Cole could have voted in jail, he could have had his word out and helped others that are in his position that have been falsely convicted of crimes. He could have saved his own life. This reveals a system in which an innocent man had no chance of redemption. This is for thousands of Americans each year of their lives in captivity for crimes they didn't commit. So furthermore, I'll be revealing the rights from the U.S. Constitution in a deeper depth into our injustice perspective. Now, according to Legal Information Institute, in the 15th Amendment, it states that all citizens' rights to vote shall not be denied by race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Also, according to the Legal Information Institute states, in the 14th Amendment, all persons born or nationalized in the United States have equal protection and equal rights. So these rights are necessary to discuss in my argument because not only some prisoners are innocent, I'm not saying every single one is innocent, but I'm here to tell you today that everyone in America is a citizen and have rights, and it should not be taken away if they're in jail or not. Now, finally, I will be showing you the stats of our voting system and how it affects our democracy negatively. Now, as the Pew Research Center noted back in 2016, our voter turnout is among the lowest in the developed world. Out of these 15 countries, we're about the top lowest 4. This estimated that roughly only 43% of eligible voters didn't even bother filling out the ballot that year. Also, according to the U.S. Elections Project, 232 million people of 2016 were allowed to vote and only 132 million did. That means 100 million people who were eligible to vote didn't even bother filling out the ballot because they didn't think it was worth the hassle. Now, this main point ties along with how many people are actually in jail today. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, the American criminal justice system holds about 2.3 million people in jail today. This is 1,713 local prisons, 1,772 juvenile facilities, 3,163 jails, also military prisons. Now, these big numbers of people who are held in jail today can impact into our voting system into a higher rank. These prisoners have a closer perspective on the justice system since they're fighting it every single day. They have a change into what goes on in our world just by their voting. Now, in conclusion, There are many valid reasons why people who are incarcerated should have the right to vote. They have rights that should be recognized and a word into our corrupt justice system that could be dealt with because they have a lash into breaking into it every single day. They have a closer perspective into what goes wrong. Everyone is equal, even if there's mistakes behind it. Let's have a true democracy and have every single citizen in America to vote, in jail or not. Thank you.